Good morning, everybody. We're going to be in Isaiah chapter 46, and we're going to look at verses 3 through 10. And I don't know how Jen picked out that song that goes along with my devotional, but anyway. All right. So there you go. So after we get through reading Isaiah, I'm going to talk about some stuff, and we'll see what happens. All right. We're going to be in verse 3, and here we start. Hearken unto me, house of Jacob, all the remnant of the house of Israel, which are born by me from the belly, which are carried from the womb. So, reading that, we see that he's with us all from the beginning. God's with us always from the beginning. Isaiah is talking to Israel at this time, but you can relate that to yourself as we go along. Verse 4, even in your old age, I am he, even the hoar hairs, which are the gray hairs, okay? So he's from the beginning to the ending. Will I carry you? I have made and will bear, even I will carry and will deliver you. So we know he's going to take care of us. He's going to deliver us through all the things. Sometimes we panic. We get ourselves in a worked up situation and we give it to God, and guess how easy it is? Boom, he takes care of it. Verse 5, to whom will you liken me and make me equal and compare me that we may be like? So God's asking a question, who are you going to compare me to? And guess what happens? We see this in the next verse. Verse 6, they lavish gold out of the bag and weigh silver in the balance and hire a goldsmith and maketh it a god. They fall down, yea, and worship it. So what's happening today? You know, every commercial you see, buy gold, buy silver, do this, do that, right? Does it say trust in the Lord? Any of those commercials say trust in the Lord? No. All right, verse 7. They bear upon them the shoulders, they carry him, and set him in the place, and they standeth from his place shall not be removed. Yea, one shall cry unto him, and yet can he not answer, nor save them out of their trouble? See, all those idols we want to hang on to, they don't help us. They don't get us out of trouble. You cry out to them, they can't do nothing. Your little block of wood or your little statue of gold or whatever that is, it's not going to help you. And a lot of times we're thinking, oh, I'm going to save for the future. Really? You might want to ask God about that. All right, verse 8. Remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O you transgressors. Keep it in your mind. We make fun of Israel because they messed up so much. But guess what? If we look in the mirror, how much are we messing up? Verse 9, remember the former things of old, for I am God, there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me. That's what we need to remember. When we're in our trials and our troubles and our tribulations and all those things, remember who he is. And verse 10, declaring the end from the beginning and the ancient times and the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. He's going to stand strong. He's going to stay in line. He's going to stay in place, and he's going to hang in there. Now, I was thinking about this while I was reading it, and something hit me really hard. And I was thinking about salvation. Salvation's free, right? But what's the cost of being a disciple? Yeah. Are you willing to be a disciple? I'm asking that question to me a lot of times. Are you willing to be a disciple? Jesus told us what it takes to be one in Luke 14. And he told us that in verse 25 to 35. We won't go there, but you can read it and find out if you're a disciple. Verse 5 says, to be his disciple, we need to love him above all. And he said, if you don't love me above all, you can't be my disciple. And then we see in another deal, we need to take up our cross and deny ourselves daily. And if you don't do that, you can't be my disciple, he says. So it looks like a pretty good challenge. If we do these things, or if we don't do these things, we can't be his disciple. And sometimes that's pretty discouraging, but he makes a way if we are willing to follow. He makes a way that can happen. You see, the cost is high in our eyes, not in God's eyes, right? That cost is, wow, I can't do that. Yeah, if we can't do it, but he can. He even told us to count the cost. Before you jump in there and say, hi, I'm Mr. So-and-so, I'm the disciple of Jesus, you better count that cost first. You better count it, because it could get you in a big mess. And I wrote down here, what are you willing to give up for Jesus? Idols, time, things we think are so important? Are we willing to give that up? And then the thought about that is he gave all for us. He didn't even hesitate. And he's with us from the beginning. And in Matthew 28:20, he said, he is with us always, even to the end of the world. He's going to be there. He's going to take care of us. We just need to step out and do what he asks us to do. It's a hard thing, I know, but guess what? We can do it through him. Thank you, and you're dismissed to your Sunday school class.
Real quick, everybody, before you go to Sunday school classes, I wanted to let you know, please don't use this bathroom or the bathroom in Grace Hall. If you need to use the restroom throughout the day, come to these two front bathrooms in the main building, please. If you could. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Oops, sorry. Brother Luis ain't in here. Yes, I brought the binder. Not the binder. Yeah, you better. Good morning. Oh, thank you. How are y'all this morning? Didn't Brother Luis do a good quarterly last quarter? It was really good, huh? On Luke and Jesus and the crucifixion and stuff. That was great. Well, you got to suffer through me now for the next few months. And we're going back into the book of 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles. Now, I have a handout here. I'm going to hand out. Don't throw these away because you might need them down the road a little ways. Okay? Plus, it's a good thing. Yeah, don't toss them. Yeah, plus they're pretty cool information. Well, I got a small class today. All right, I think, there we go. So how are y'all today? Good? All right. If you'll open your Bibles to the book of 2 Kings, and we're going to start with chapter 14. And we're going to read verses 1 and 3, and then we're going to go over to 2 Chronicles 25, 1 and 2. And I don't know if Morgan put it up there, but I kind of titled this okay, thank you. And I apologize to Morgan that I didn't send her a format of what I was doing. I'm pretty bad about that. I kind of titled this The Foolish King. In the book of 2 Kings 14, 1 through 3, and in the second year of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, you guys have to excuse my English, king of Israel, reigned Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah. He was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jehoadad of Jerusalem, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, yet not like David his father. He did according to all things as Joash his father did. Now, 2 Chronicles 25, 1 through 2. Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jehoiada of Jerusalem, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, but not with a perfect heart. Okay, if you'll take your little, if Sister Morgan will bring up the kings of Judah. And on our list here, where's he at? There he is. I'm shaking a little bit because I'm as nervous as can be. Right here on your list, he was the 9th king in the reign of the kings of Judah. He was only number 9 since the separation of Israel. So, and that's the whole list down to Zedekiah, which if you would been here, if you're here on Wednesday nights, who's Zedekiah? Isn't he the king of Judah when the Babylonians came to overthrow them? Okay, so that's where the kingdom stops. But anyway, and also, if you'll turn over to the next page, and I just shine this laser light in my eye. I'm blind. And if we'll look here, and we have Jehoash, or this guy right here, Joash, is about the same time. Now, he's the king of Israel at that period of time when when Amaziah came into power at 25 years old. It's very interesting that Amaziah was more or less known as a good king, right? That's what your paperwork shows here. But in our scriptures, it's telling us that primary number 1, that he did not walk in the ways of his father David. Now, most good kings of Judah, or in the Old Testament, it says when a king walked in the ways of the Lord and his father David, means that they walked in the ways of God in worship and sacrifice, and they taught the people the same thing. But in our first couple verses, it tells us that he did not walk in the ways of his father. And over in 2 Chronicles, it tells us that he walked, tells us here, that he walked upright, he walked with God, but not with a perfect heart. What does that mean? He was a good king, but he had his faults. He wasn't 110% following God. And why is this? Well, one, it tells us that in 2 Kings 14:4, howbeit the high places were not taken away, as yet the people did sacrifice and burnt incense to high places. He was known as a good king, but he did not remove the idol worship. Baal was the main one. Okay? He was a good king, but he had a problem. And the problem was he didn't remove idol worship. Just as his father, not David, but Joash. His father, his earthly father started off as a really good king. He did a lot of things, but he instituted some idol worship, and Baal was one of them. And who do we know Baal as? He was probably one of the most popular ones next to Molech in the Old Testament. He was a bad king. I mean, a bad God, if you want to call that. He wasn't even a real God. He was an evil God. But the thing with, I have no problem with names. Amaziah, he did not remove idol worship when he came into power from the people. and that's against God. Do we have a problem with idol worship today? So it sounds like it's a continuous thing, isn't it? His fathers before him did it, and if you follow some of this, if you look on there, good king, wicked. Okay, it gets worse and worse and worse. Okay. Now, if you look in 2 Chronicles, it says this about him. But he slew not, okay. 2 Chronicles, if you look at that, in verse 4, now, but he slew not the children, but did, verse 3, And it came to pass when he, the king, was established, now, you got to understand, his father's dead. Now, how did his father die? Anybody know? Joash? Joash was killed by his own servants. There was a conspiracy in his own household by his servants, and they assassinated him. Kind of not a good deal, huh? So Joash is dead, his father. Now he becomes king at 25. And the thing about it is, now it came to pass when the king was established to him that he slew his servants that had killed the king his father. That's verse 3, 2 Chronicles. So now he's in power. He's established as the king. So now he takes revenge. Is that allowed by God? In the Old Testament, it was. Because in the book of Deuteronomy, the law that was established by Moses, or I should say, the law that was established by God, said that you could take revenge on who did wrong to you, or who may have killed someone, a relative or your family member, unjustly. Okay? That's part of capital punishment. But in that, it says this too. In verse 4, he slew not their children, we're still in 2 Chronicles, but did as it is written in the law in the book of Moses, where the Lord commanded, saying, the father shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for the father. Every man shall die for his own sin. Okay. So he goes and kills these servants that killed his father in an assassination. And he goes and he kills them, but he doesn't kill their children. If you look through history of other countries and other kingdoms and stuff, the norm was when a king took power, he killed everyone that was related or even had anything to do with the household. Even in the Old Testament, in the book of Kings, there were some instances like that they went through and they killed everyone. Joash was hidden away because this lady was trying to kill him. So they hid him away as a child. So Amaziah was a good king. He followed the law. He put those to death that assassinated his father, but he left a remnant of those families alive. He didn't wipe out everybody. So he's a good king, right? Now this may be a short lesson. And over in 2 Kings, it tells us this in verse 5, and it came to pass, as soon as the king was confirmed in his hand, that he slew his servants, which had slain the king, his father. Now, 2 Chronicles is a little more detailed than 2 Kings. And we'll find out that it is a little more detailed. Why the writers did that, I don't know. Some of them were more detailed in one place, some of them more detailed in another place. So, so now we're going to go from verse 5 to 2 Kings verse 6. And there he tells us again that he didn't murder the children. Okay? Now, it's 2 Kings 14 and 2 Chronicles 25 are almost identical back to back. There are some differences. So if it sounds like repetition, I'm going from each one in the verses to kind of bring out the points, hopefully. So he didn't kill their children in 2 Kings. He let them live. He killed the people that killed his father. So now it switches. He's became king. He's established as king. He's now taken revenge on his father's assassins. And now things switch a little bit. So we're in 2 Chronicles 25:5. Moreover, Amaziah, I guess I'm pronouncing that right, am I? Amaziah? I'm Amaziah? Close enough. I'm not an English major, and you guys know that. Gathered together and made them gathered together Judah, people of Judah, together and made them captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, according to the house of their fathers, throughout all Judah and Benjamin. And the number of them were 20 from 20 years old and above, and found them 300,000 choice men. He found 300 men who could fight. They were, how many of you ever seen the movie The 300? When I read that part, that's why I think a bunch of buffed up looking dudes, it's all painted on anyway, but a bunch of buffed up looking dudes and swords that came, rah, they're ready to fight. It's interesting to me also too when I read this, it says men of 25 and older. You know what? You can't even get a 25-year-old to mow the lawn, let alone probably a 35-year-old man to mow the lawn. Okay. These are 20-year-olds. Yeah, these guys are ready to fight. What a different world it would be if we were. Leave it there. Well, a long time ago, yeah, it was, in the turn of the century in 18 and 1900s, 1700s. If you weren't, and not only for the men, but also for the ladies, if you weren't married at 16 or 18, you were an old maid. Yeah, so times have changed. But anyway, let's see where we're at here. 20 years old and above, and he found them 300,000 choice men able to go forth to war that could handle spear and shield. So they were well trained. They knew how to handle their equipment. Like I said, you ask a 20-year-old, can you start the lawnmower? And he's like, how do you do that? If it doesn't have a button, I can't start it. These guys were ready to fight. Well, you had to. Well, you had to, because if you look at the history in the Old Testament, from the time the Israelis, the Jews, had moved into the Promised Land, they were fighting all the time. I mean, literally fighting all the time. So you had to train your young people early. We have countries today, foreign countries, that do the same thing with their children. I'm not going to mention who they are. We all kind of know who they are. But they train their children up from when they're like 5 years old how to fight. We'll leave that one alone too. So my curiosity was, when I read that part, was why is he building an army? Well, most of them did. They had armies for fighting foreign countries and to protect. But he was going to fight with the Edomites. Well, they've always been kind of a pain in their side from day one. They've been fighting back and forth all the time. So I'm sure they were He was building, his dad probably had an army before him, and so he built another army up. And, and you got to understand, he's a young man himself. Imagine a 25-year-old being put in charge of our country. Scary thought, huh? But, he was brought up in a house of a king, so he was probably being taught how to manage things, I would imagine. That's my opinion. Not only did he find 300,000 choice men in his own country, he went outside. He hired also 100,000 mighty men from Israel. What? 2 Chronicles 25, 6 and 12. But let's see here. He hired also 100,000 men of valor. That means brave men, ready to go, willing to fight. Probably seasoned veterans, as we would call them. They've been in fights before. Because, the northern kingdom was always fighting with people too. So they had the men too. Out of Israel for 100 talents of silver. Now, Brother Dave mentioned silver just in his devotional, and it kind of clicked. It says, boom, silver. Money. But there came a man of God to say, O king, let not the army of Israel go with thee, for the Lord is not with Israel. To wit, with all the children of Ephraim. But if thou wilt go, do it, be strong for the battle, God shall make thee fall before the enemy. For God hath power to help and to cast down. And Amaziah said to the man of God, what shall we do with the 100 talents of silver? Okay, wait a minute. So now we have a man of God that shows up. Okay, take your paper here, the back one. But the Bible doesn't tell us who this guy is. Huh? Is a man of God. But he doesn't say who he is. So that gets my curiosity up. Okay? We know, if you'll bring up the chart of prophets and kings. Oh, you didn't bring it up? Well, on the back here, everyone's got it. If you look at your chart of the kings, Amaziah ruled around 803 to 775 BC. And if you look on your chart of prophets and you find Amaziah, and let's see here, was called the year Joram, Messiah, and Uriah is his son. So we're looking at Hosea, Jonah, Amos, and Hosea, around those times, those three guys. It doesn't say who it is, and I don't know if it's one of those guys or not. I don't think so, because you know what? God didn't just have one or two guys that were men of God walking the country. But those three guys are around that time. Okay? But he doesn't specify who it is. And there's probably a good reason for that. God does everything for a reason, right? So here comes the man of God and saying, hey, you're going to go over here and you're going to start fighting with the Edomites, and you're hiring people out of Israel to come fight with you. Israel's not walking with God. They're probably worse than Judah right now. Huh? No, not trusting him. They're worshiping idols big time, Judah ain't exactly doing real well themselves. They still have the idol worship going on, but they have a good king. Israel's got a not so good king right now. So he hires all these guys. The man of God shows up and says, hey, why are you doing this? If you put your trust and faith in God to fight this battle, your enemies are going to fall in front of you. What's he worried about? Well, what about all this money I just paid these guys? He's not worried about doing what God says. He's not worried about fighting God's battle that God says to fight, or to fight it like God says to fight it. He's worried about how much money I just paid all these guys. A talent, 100 talents of silver. Now, using the only thing I could find was the Babylonian Standard. Sounds familiar. The Babylonian Standard says a talent is anywhere from 130 pounds to 70 pounds of silver. That's a lot of silver, you know. If you threw that in the price today, that's a lot of money, a lot. So God tells him, you don't need these guys. If you use them, you ain't going to do well. You're going to lose. And Amaziah said, and what about all this money I just paid these guys? I have given to the army of Israel. And the man of God answered, the Lord is able to give thee much more than this. So he already paid them. We'll come fight for you, but you got to pay us in advance. It's a good deal. Yeah, it's a good deal. You know, how many of your employers that say, well, you got to pay me first for the week that I'm going to work? Nah, it ain't going to happen. These guys got a good deal. They got paid up front. But God's man says, if you don't use them and you go fight this battle with these guys, he will overbless you. He will give you much more for it. Like I said, this might be a short lesson. So Amaziah, okay, let's go over here, back over to the 2 Kings. Oh, just lost it. There we are. Let me find here with the messenger. Okay. In verse 7 of 2 Kings 14, verse 7, and he slew of the Edom and the valley of the salt 10,000 and took Selah by war and called the name of it Jakil, thank you, unto this day. So in 2 Kings, it tells us that he won. Now, if you go over to 2 Chronicles, it tells us this. And then verse 10, 2 Chronicles 25, same event prior to that battle, okay? Then Amaziah separated them to with the army that was come to him out of Ephraim to go home again. Wherefore their anger was greatly kindled against Judah, and they returned home with great anger. Okay, you said that was a good deal to get paid 100 talents of silver before you go out and fight? They got paid. But what's wrong here? They were told, go home. The man of God said, don't take these guys. So Amaziah, the good king, said, I don't need you guys. You guys can go. They kept the money. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they kept the money. But they were mad. They were angry. Why? Disrespected? Okay. Yes.
It goes back to the word in verse 6, valor. The word valor in verse 6 references like battle hardened. Or they were, like you said, they're warriors to the point of addiction.
Yes.
These guys have to fight in order to purpose their lives.
Yep.
So people like a professional athlete working all the way up to the end of the week, putting in that time and working
The spoils. A mindset. How many of you ever watched Saving Private Ryan? The opening part of that movie was graphic. And my stepdad was in the Navy. He pulled into Pearl Harbor the day after. And he didn't talk about it much. But in the movie Private Ryan, when the gates would drop down on those landing crafts, the guys, rah, charge. Why? They were men of valor. Now, I think some of them had the mindset that they enjoyed doing what they did. So they were mad. They got paid. You know, hey, I don't have to go and do this and possibly die. He's already paid us, but I'm angry because I can't go fight. Adrenaline rush. You know, MMA fighters, they can't wait to get in the ring and fight. Money's good, I guess. I don't think getting the tar beat out of you is too profitable for me. Go ahead.
I love that you brought that up because I'm a fan of martial arts. One of the things also when you go into a fight is you go into the prospect of bonuses. If you finish the man in a knockout or submission, you get extra money.
Yep.
And this is exactly why they're upset, because they got close to 13,000 to 7,000 pounds of silver. However, they were going to go in, wipe these guys out, and nobody's going to tell them they can't take all the stuff.
Yeah.
Because these guys fit the description of what you talked about in the 300.
Yep.
They are finely tuned warrior machines.
Fighting machines.
Yeah, so nobody's going to try to bulldoze them for the spoils.
Right.
They belong to them. That's why they're really upset, because they probably would have gotten triple.
Oh, yeah.
Like stealing weapons, livestock, jewelry, everything. So to them, it was a slight, like, you know, forget your payment, we want everything.
So all these things that you just mentioned, you know, mindsets, spoils, got paid, valor, that's what it's all about. That's what it was all about. And now they're mad. We'll get back to them in a little bit. So now let's see here. Any student getting minutes 1,000. War. Give me a second. I got to find my place here. Okay. 2 Chronicles 25, 13 through 16. Okay, I'm sorry. 11. Let's do 11. And Amaziah strengthened himself and led forth his people and went to the valley of Salt and smote the children of Seir 10,000. Okay, so guess what? He won. He killed 10,000 people. That's a lot of people. You know, in the battle of, I think it was Gettysburg, they estimated, I think it was, don't quote me on it, but I heard somewhere that 70,000 men died at the Battle of Gettysburg. That's a lot of people. 10,000. 200 is a lot of people. Verse 12, and another 10,000 left alive did the children of Judah carry away to captivity. Okay, so they killed 10,000 of them, and they captured 10,000. That's a lot of people. That's 20,000 men. You want to say something, Brother Clint? Oh. And brought them to the top of the rock. Okay, so they marched them to wherever the top of the rock was. And here's 10,000 captives, and here's the army of Judah all standing there. And this is something that is just, you know, you think, you know, brutal. These men surrendered, thinking, okay, I'm going to get to live. Just like Jeremiah. If you go out and you surrender to him, you'll live. When Babylonian was besieging Jerusalem. But if you stay, you die. So they took them to the top of the rock, and they cast them down from the top of the rock, that they all were broken in pieces. So they killed them. They didn't use a sword. They threw them off a mountain. These guys probably thought, okay, we're captives, we're going to be slaves, we're going to have to work hard the rest of our lives, probably die doing it. Marched them to the top of a mountain and threw them off. Merciless killing. So, Amaziah, good king? So now, after they have won their battle, killed 10,000 men, well, they killed 20,000 actually. 10 of them they killed in battle. 10,000 of them they slaughtered. In verse 13, and the soldiers of the army which Amaziah sent back. Now, remember the guys from Israel? This is where they come back into the picture. And remember, they're angry. Amaziah sent back that they should not go with him to battle, fell upon the cities of Judah, from Samaria even to Beth-horon, and smote 3,000 of them, and took much spoils. You cheated us out of all those spoils we could have had. So guess what, King Amaziah? We're going to take it from your people. If you want to call it that, I guess that's what it was.
They were going to get it either way.
Either way, they're going to get it.
What better way to get back at Uzziah for his perceived betrayal than to march through his very city and sack it and take everything from there? We're talking like, when we say spoils, we got to understand, this is women, children, cattle. It's everything. Kill the men, take everybody else. And take everything else. So when they came home, that's a horror show.
Yep. And it was not just one place, it was probably numerous places. Between one point A and point B, whatever was in between probably got ransacked and killed. So here we go. Here's those angry Israelites. They're going to get their just reward, right? Okay. Now it came to, in verse 14, now it came to pass after that, Amaziah, oh, please don't ring that bell. I know, ain't no way in the world I was going to finish this. I thought it was going to be short, but it ain't. I'd like to talk too much, I guess. Now it came to pass after that, Amaziah came from the slaughter of the Edomites, that he brought the gods of the children of Seir, and set them up to be his gods, and bowed down himself before them, and burnt incense unto them. Oh boy. Amaziah, not so good a king. More or less a foolish king. Now, verse 15 is where it all comes to play. Wherefore the anger of the Lord was kindled against Amaziah. Well, he started out okay until he did what he did with the idols from their enemies and worshiped them. And he sent unto him a prophet, not named, which said unto him, why hast thou sought after the gods of the people which could not deliver their own people out of their hands? Prophet Cousin says, if you believe in I almost said Jesus. If you believe in God, it's Jesus, okay? If you believe in God and he can win the battle for you and you don't use these guys, and he did it, so why are you bringing these other gods back that couldn't deliver them from you? Not right. Foolishness. How many of us have other gods that we spend more time with than we do our true God? Unfortunately, I have to say, I'm one. Monday rolls around, worry about this, worry about that. Tuesday rolls around, worry about this, worry about that. Wednesday rolls around, got to make sure the electric bill, this and this and this is paid, and that's done, and this is done. Thursday rolls around, same thing. Oh, it's more important to do this than to talk to the Lord. Or it's more important to, be on the phone. Boy, that's a big God to us now, isn't it? And it came to pass, in verse 16, and it came to pass, as he talked with him, that the king said unto him, art thou made of the king's counsel? Okay, here's the man of God talking to Amaziah right now, telling him, you fool, why did you bring these guys back and worship them? And Amaziah stops him in the dead middle and says, hey, who are you to say this? Kind of rude, huh? Forbear, why shalt thou be smitten? Then the prophet forbare and said, I know that God hath determined to destroy thee, because thou hast done this, and hast not hearkened unto my counsel. Now I'm going to run this kind of short. Now Amaziah won the battle against the Edomites. He's brought back the Edomite gods. He's worshiping them. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And now he's puffed up. Man, I'm a great king. I've won wars. You know what? Then Amaziah the king, in verse 17, took advice and sent Joash, the son of Jehoahaz, the son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, come, let us see one another in the face. What does that tell us? He sends message over to Israel, or the northern kingdom. Hey, let's go fight. What? Let's go fight. Sounds like a bunch of kids after school. Hey, let's go fight. Under the bleachers at the football stadium. Oh, talk about prideful. Talk about foolishness. Because he was just told by the prophet of God, you're going to be destroyed. Now, make it long story short, I only got a few minutes. So they go, and the king of Israel sends back and tells Amaziah, dude, paraphrasing in language I can speak, dude, I'm running out of time. I'm going to stomp you in the ground. And so they go fight. And guess what? He stomps him in the ground, takes him captive. And then later, after that king of the north dies, Amaziah flees because now there's a conspiracy of the people to kill him. And they catch him and they kill him. End of story. What else can I say? Gave you the last part was real. I never can get through these. But good king? It may have been a good king at the start. Not so real good king, but a pretty good king. But at the end, he was a foolish king. You want to say something, Paul? Wow. At Gettysburg? 51,000? Yeah, it may have been one of the other ones. I can't remember what it was, but it was like something where 70,000. That's still a lot. That's double that.